y'all, this is Matilda Potter and I'm gonna make bowls today, and I thought I would invite you along for the ride. I don't know about you, but I find that it's helpful to know what I'm aiming for before I just get going on something. And a bowl that's gonna eventually look like one of these. That one's carved and kind of shallow. This one is stamped and a lot deeper. That's what I would call like a noodle soup bowl. A nice wide bowl that's more of a serving bowl. Another noodle bowl. See, once again, it's got a continuous curve. And sometimes I alter the edges and I can make it into a heart shape or a flower shape. I can finish the outside however I want. And it's nice to have a big variety of different sizes and shapes because everyone's got different needs for the kitchen and for just carrying things around the house and snacking, which is how I tend to use my bowls. Oh, one more thing. What makes a bowl different from every other piece of pottery? It's a continuous curve. Here's my cheat sheet. A continuous curve from one lip to the next. Like if there's a little guy on a skateboard, it would be a half pipe, all right? And just, you know, no changes in angles. This, which we might call a bowl, and you could eat cereal out of it, see how it's got a flat bottom? So it's got a curve, and then there's an angle, and then it's flat, and then another angle and back up. So that can be a nice piece of pottery. It can function as a bowl, but n'est-ce pas une bowl. It would be technically a flared cylinder. Being a little bit of a nerd, I just like to have the correct terminology for things. So let's throw a bowl. Now I'm centered. I also want to remind you that I do ship. And although it's nice to come into the studio in person and I'll give you a lump of clay to play with, when you buy pottery in the mail, it comes with something really awesome, which is called bubble wrap. And you can pop all you want because if you buy the pottery, the bubble wrap is also yours. So now I open. And after I open it, I'm just flaring my thumbs apart like that. And then I have a little trick. I take a tool with an angle and I flare my proto bowl out a little bit, making sure that the whole time I have a nice continuous curve. Now if I were doing a cylinder, I would create a flat bottom for it as a foundation, and then after that bottom is finished, I would pretty much ignore it, and I would do every pull starting at the base going straight up. Because I am not doing a cylinder and I'm doing a bowl, every pull is not going to start at the bottom of the wall. It's going to start in the very center, meet up with my outside hand, and then continue. Rather than a cylinder, they'd start together and continue. It's like walking your friend to the school bus stop. You're a little further away, you meet up with your friend, and then you go together. Whereas a cylinder, you're already living in the same building, and you go together. Your hands have to be friends when you're making pottery. So I can do a pull in whichever way I want. I can sort of grab the whole thing and pull. And then when it gets a little bigger, I slow it down and I start doing my pulls just with my fingertips. It just met up with its little friend there. My inside hand met up with my outside hand. And I'm shaping as I pull. Making sure I don't have any spots that are going to catch my fingers. If it gets dry, it catches. And I just do another pull or two, getting that extra clay up from the bottom and bellying out that beautiful curvaceous bowl. Make sure I mop up all my water from the middle. I can also use a tool like this, which is called a rib, and as my very final shaping, I'll replace my inside hand with the rib. My outside hand is still doing the work of supporting. Get my water out. Just fix up that rim a little bit. And I don't know about you, but that looks like a pretty good bowl to me. So I'll trim off the excess from the bottom. And because I am throwing these on plastic bats, that's this green platform you see, I can just let it dry slowly and it will pop itself right off of the bat. I always wonder if that expression came from pottery or from baseball. Right off the bat, probably baseball. Let's do a couple more. Slightly bigger lumps, it'll be a slightly bigger bowl. Nice and centered. Opened. Now I do my little trick with the angle. That eliminates having a big chunk of extra clay right at the foot. Now I do my first pull. And I've decided that I want this bowl to be a little more of the up and down so it can hold something brothy, not a wide bowl. So when I pull, I'm still making sure I have a nice continuous curve instead of an angle, but I'm making that curve more acute. I'm sure the geometry people will tell me that acute means angles, and there's another word for a curve that's like this instead of like that. Probably something to do with sines or cosines. You can correct me in the comments. And I don't mean that facetiously, I actually do like to learn. Throw in a big spiral. Mop up my extra water. Let's trim off that foot. Did you see that? I just nicked the edge of the bowl with my tool. Be careful where you put your hands and where you're putting your tools. It's always good advice. Be careful. Be careful where you put your tools in your hands. All right, that's one more. I'm going to put on another bat. And for this one, I'll do a bowl that has some sort of variation. You don't have to throw your clay down while your wheel is already moving. In fact, it's kind of just something I'm teaching myself how to do because there's just nothing like a little bit of showmanship. Oh, see, it was terrible. Let me try one more time. You know, at first I wasn't getting anywhere near close to bullseye, but getting better and better with practice. Ah, see, not as bad. I can work with that. Naturally, when no one's looking and my camera's not on, I've gotten total bullseye a few times. Yes, I know, pictures or it didn't happen. Let's make this one a little narrower at the base. Got it centered. I open a bit. It made it more of a challenge to center, you know, since I had it so far off. That's what I get for showing off. But that's the thing, if it starts off as showboating, if you get good enough at it, then it actually becomes virtuosity, so maybe if I play with mud long enough, I'll get there. Now I do my first pull. I've got a part that was sticky. So I added some water to that sticky part. And I'm still doing all those pulls from the very center of my bowl and meeting up with that other hand. Big pronounced spiral. And I'm going to smooth out the inside. Trim off the bottom. And then, here's our variation.